Welcome to Thrive While Loving an Addict. I'm KL Wells. And again, I am very excited to bring a Canadian to the table this week for you all. Denise Frenette is a spiritual synergist, life coach, all of the things that help us deal with the traumas that show up in our lives and transform them and transmute them and help us live a healthy life. And so I'm always really super curious to talk to somebody who plays in that space and also has a story of her own, which she has amplified by the book that she has just put out as of a couple of days ago called More, and she can speak more about that. But where I'd like to start is, Denise, if you would kind of give us the origin story relative to your father. And then for our audience, I want you to know we're going to touch on a couple things today that I think will be really super valuable. One is breaking generational cycles of shame and inherited trauma, and then forgiveness, which is misunderstood in so many ways. And how do we actually do all that? But let's start with your origin story.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here, KL. You've done already so much in this industry, your TED Talks and all of that. And so I am honored to be sharing this time with you.
Thank you.
So you ask about my father, the story behind that. So when I started writing my book, More Because It's Time, there was even no question that I was not even going to talk about my upbringing at all. Not even about my father, none of that. This was going to be just a book about how to manifest, understanding the energy that we create. How can we change our patterns of thinking and our habits? And because it's difficult to sometimes change these habits. And then the book kept on as I'm writing about understanding why we have certain habits and why they're so hard to break. And that is actually stemming from everything that we've seen, everything that we've heard and experienced since we are born. And so all of these things, so here I am writing my book, okay, and wanting to explain this in depth as I do with my clients. And there was no way it occurred to me. And I'm like, oh my God, what do? I'm writing this book and I'm stuck because there's no way I can write this without talking about, Denise, how do you know this stuff?
Right.
And at first I thought, unfortunately, so I dabbled with the idea at first of bringing in some of my personal story, and I didn't want to do that. And I struggled. And this went on because it's not like I wrote the book overnight. This book started years ago. And then I got stuck because I struggled because I did not want to share my personal story at all because it's personal. And there was no way I was putting myself out there. And I struggled. Then the book stopped because I got stuck.
Yeah.
I had to do some work. I'm like, why am I so ashamed? I felt this shame. I felt this fear that I was going to be judged, that I was going to be, I don't know. It was just all of that. So it is in that process that I realized, wow, I still had not. And I love this word. This word came to me, like really helped me, is the word acknowledge. I had never fully, respectfully, with respect, with love, with grace, acknowledged things that had gone on when I grew up.
Yeah.
I never really took the time to say, hey, that was wrong. Because I was scared that if I really acknowledged what was wrong, that I wouldn't be able to love my father. And of course, because he wasn't a monster, but if I acknowledged what was wrong, I didn't feel like I'd be able to love him. And I so desperately wanted to love him because there were aspects of him that were good. And he did love me as best as he could. And I so wanted that love. So if I addressed and acknowledged what was wrong, it was like a battle. Because I thought, how can I address this and still love him?
Right. Which I think is a conundrum for a lot of people, particularly in the
Absolutely.
addiction space, is, how can I acknowledge what's going on and still love them at the same time?
Yes. And so it took years for me to work through that and to understand it and to give it the respect, the addiction, the challenge, all of that, the hurt, to give it a space of respect, of love, and of grace, so that from there, I can actually breathe. I can take a step back and allow myself to view all of the different layers, all of the different ways to look at it, so that I can actually understand it better, so that I can approach it not with anger, not with so much pain that I can't see anything else, and not with denial either. Because denial, wow, denial is like a beautiful comfort of a Band-Aid. But man, it doesn't heal, right? It just Band-Aids it till at one point it no longer serves you. So denial, I think, served me for a while, but not if I wanted to see the world differently. Because with this process, this healing process, the process of acknowledgement, forgiveness, in that process, as I learned, as I allowed myself to go there, it's unbelievable. The ripple effect that happened, I started seeing the world differently, communities. I started questioning wars. I started questioning, why is there such, just even here in Canada, why is there such a big the homelessness issue or healthcare issues? Then I started questioning, why are we not finding solutions to this? And so, from my understanding of the acknowledging of my father, who he really was, it allowed me then to understand, how can we view other things going on around us with different lenses? How can we shift? Because it's allowing ourselves to shift, even if there's fear involved or the unknown, to shift so that we could respectfully view things in a different way. So, and I know we're going to go right into, like, at one point, the forgiveness, because that shifting is what allowed me to forgive. I could forgive when I was still standing in the pain. I could forgive when I was solely standing in the anger, and when I was still struggling with, how do I love him and acknowledge my memories? Acknowledge.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So all that to say, my father had a drinking problem. He was an alcoholic, a functioning alcoholic. And he was also violent. And I still have a hard time saying it, just even saying it right. And it's so unfortunate. And you said something, we were talking earlier before we started the podcast, and you used the word birthing, the birthing of my book. And it's such a beautiful term when you use that, because that's exactly what that is. And after you give birth, there's still healing involved with the body. And even if I wrote it, even if I understand it, even if I practice it, which I do, there was still healing that occurs after the actual birthing. So,
yeah. And so let me just, for our audience, is there's an evolution of healing. It's not like a one and done. It's not like you just forgive and then you move on. And so just understanding that in your own journey, it's going to be an evolving journey. And we tend to think of things good, bad, right, wrong. So we do the duality thing. It's either or. And so what you're speaking to is that there's the and. It's not or.
oh, absolutely. It's so funny you say that, the either or, and it is, I forget what page it's on. I literally say exactly that. And that was my struggle. And so there could be beauty and darkness, light and dark. There is. It's not one or the other.
Yeah.
And the ability to be able to live with both is, well, I think is a gift because it is through the darkness that you discover how important, how beautiful the light is and how much it's needed.
Yeah. We have to have the both sides. And what we were also talking about earlier was, shoot, I lost my train of thought. I'll come back to it. It'll pop back in.
Yes. That's right.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
And it's so I do talk about obviously about my father in the book, but it's not technically about my father. It isn't, right? Well, I say right, but it's not about him. It's about understanding the living in the essence of more. And when I talk about the essence of more, is understanding that we have choices. So we could live in a world that doesn't allow for more than just the pain, or
Right.
more than just what's wrong, what is going wrong. And it is important to acknowledge what's going wrong, but what do we do then? What does that lead to? Because if it doesn't lead to anything, really, then man, what a waste. What a waste of pain. What a waste of knowledge. Because we do learn a lot through our struggles.
Absolutely.
We should. And that's what brings a level of peace, a level of growth, is so that if we could take whatever pains us, whatever hurts, whatever isn't right, and if we could say, wait a minute, there's a reason this is going on. And it's important. So when I talk about my father, I also refer to him as a boy. Why was he like that? And I had to view him as the boy who didn't get the proper love and the safe space and whatever it was that he would have needed to be healthier, right? And so by allowing myself to do that, to view all aspects, that's what allows you to understand that there is always other components behind the behavior.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so when you got stuck in writing the book, and then you finally kind of came to this place of deciding to tell your father's story as a portal for your work and understanding, was that curiosity about your dad's upbringing born in that experience?
There was a curiosity before, but there wasn't an openness to it.
Ah, okay.
Okay. An openness. And what I mean by that is my brain kind of knew, of course, if those are the tools, if you're not getting loved properly, blah, 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 that results into behaviors that might not be healthy and so on and so forth. Fine.
Sure.
My brain got it, but my heart didn't. So I knew the words. Okay. I knew the words. The words were there. I get it. My brain understood it, but that was not enough for me to move past it. And so that really happened when he passed away. Oh, fudge, man. And then just think about that. We saw to what extent the addiction, the disease had really set in. Because when he passed away, because he had a great job, a great pension, and thank goodness, okay. But when he passed away, we found out he was more than broke.
Yeah.
He had exchanged the pension for money so that he can gamble more.
Sure.
Because he had very serious gambling issues, okay? And he was penniless, which left my mother, who at that point was 85, I think, penniless.
Wow.
Now we were then the anger, the shame. Now we're, oh my God, she can't live where she's living. And she can't even afford medication. Like we're talking like nothing. And then I was angry. Oh my goodness, God, I thought I was okay with him because he had died of Parkinson's, and seeing him suffer had softened me, had softened him. He no longer could go gambling because physically he wasn't able to.
Right.
And he softened. And that was nice to see that. even if he was suffering. But
Mm-hmm.
then the death brought on more reality of the gambling and the alcoholism. And again, it's like, oh, great. Can't even die without more of this. Like, oh, and I was angry and I was pissed off.
Right.
And that is what got me, well, stuck because I was still angry. I'm like, am I allowed to swear on here?
Of course.
And I'm like, fuck, really? Really? You can't even die correctly? Like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I want to love him, but man, why does it have to be so freaking hard? I'm really, really trying to remember the good times. Oh my God. So that to me was the drop in the bucket where I'm like, I got to look at this more. Like,
Right.
if I'm coaching and helping people, and I'm like, nah, something's off. And I did. I sold my businesses. I mean, when I did, and I came out as a spiritual synergist, I've always had this gift.
Right.
Always, but there's no way I was going to come out. Are you kidding me? It did not fit in our beautiful image. It was too weird. It was too all of that. So I kept quiet because I didn't want to embarrass my family. I didn't want to embarrass my father. Of course not. And when he died and when we found out all of this, that was it. Drop in the bucket. I'm going to be me. Something snapped.
Right.
Yeah. And I really started doing some serious soul searching of what was this fear, this shame, all of those feelings that had prevented me from just being me.
Right. Yeah. And yes. And so everybody that's listening to this knows that those moments.
Yeah.
And those realizations. And that is part of why we do this podcast, is so that people can hear other people's stories and what their stories are about, but also what was the portal? What was the moment that cracked them wide open to explore what are the gifts, lessons, and opportunities embedded in this experience? And how can we use these experiences to become, it's overused, but the best version of ourselves? Actually, as you were saying, the authentic and genuine version of yourself.
Absolutely. And the allowing of yourself to do that. And so that process for me was I'm going to say a 2-year, as I was writing the book, as I sold my businesses, as I came out as a spiritual synergist, as I continued my coaching, which to my utter surprise, because I thought, this is it. I'm coming out. I'm doing a new website. I'm coming out as a spiritual synergist. And I know most of my male clients are all going to dump me for sure. Okay. Because like, oh my goodness. And I thought, this is it. I'm starting from scratch. And it's the actual opposite. And it wasn't even a big deal for them. Oh, now we get it, Denise. That's why you know me so well. I always thought you could see right through me. You saw other sides of me that I couldn't even see. Yes, that is true, but I never told them why I could see that. And so it really surprised me that everything that I had feared so much didn't happen.
And so I think about that as an MSU, which is making shit up.
I love it.
You had a whole story about it that actually turned out to be completely false.
Right.
Yeah.
False. And it's funny because one of the acronyms for fear that my second husband, who I'm still with today, because I talk about that as well, fear, false evidence appearing real.
Right.
And that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm thinking courage that it takes, obviously, to kind of address the shit you're making up, and then actually stepping into the power of who you really are. And then you're just kind of waiting to see what the response is going to be. And as you discover the response is a welcoming and a resounding, this is why we work with you, is because you have these abilities and you can see who we really are. And that's where the magic takes place.
So, and at that point though, I just didn't care. I didn't care what the response was anymore. I was
Right.
just so tired of
Mhm.
the and not me being fully transparent. And that's was taught from a very young age.
Sure.
And oh, the image that we went to church every Sunday, perfect
Mhm.
family,
Mhm.
sitting at the front. My
Mhm.
mother was the organ player. The priest would come to eat at our home sometimes. And my
Mhm.
father had this great job and blah, blah, blah. So
Mhm.
it was an important image.
Yes.
And when
Yes.
we did something wrong, the
Mhm.
consequence hurt.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
so
Right.
when from and even if let's like and when you see it happen, so if you do something wrong, this is
Mhm.
what happens.
Mhm.
Ouch.
Mhm.
Right? And that's
But the wrong is tied to is outside the image.
yes,
Yeah, and so because wrongs are attached to a lot of different things.
exactly.
And your family system was attached to the image, the exterior projection of this is who we are. And when you quote do something wrong, you're like saying to the world, well, we're not exactly that.
That's right. And there
Hmm.
was no room for that. It was about perfectionism as well.
Right, right.
Yes. And so growing up with that, it obviously then shapes the way you view things,
For sure.
right? And if
Yeah.
something isn't done perfectly,
Hmm.
then there's fault to it.
Right, right.
And which is so false.
Yes, yes,
Of
exactly.
course, of course, there is nothing perfect. That's an
No,
illusion. There is nothing perfect.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So was it when your father died and you got cracked wide open? That's how I think about your story, that you really began to wrestle with and take on breaking the generational pattern of shame and inherited trauma?
yes,
Okay.
yes. Now, I had always seen it as a generational pattern that needed to change, but I didn't really know how, or I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't yet fully experienced it. I
Mm-hmm.
understood that
Mm-hmm.
what we do every single day influences the outcome, okay? Whether it's what we hear, what we see, and I already really started kind of understanding that, which is what I was doing in my coaching business, is let's
Mm-hmm.
think how to change these habits or these ways of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I did experience it to a certain level,
Mm-hmm.
but not fully. And I didn't
Yeah.
even know that
Right.
till I came to this breaking point of
Mm-hmm.
frustration, of anger again. And that's where it really shocked me. And like, wow, I'm there again. And
Right.
it
Right.
brought me to a whole other level of having to again question, how am I going to shift to
Mm-hmm.
view this differently? How am I going to digest this anger and this sadness? And to be able
Yeah.
to digest it,
Yeah.
you have to have the
Mm-hmm.
courage to look
Mm-hmm.
at it differently.
Yeah.
Because
And so I'm wondering, Denise, is prior to that experience, you had intellectually done
mhm,
the work, but that
yes,
experience cracked your heart wide open for you now to
absolutely.
step into doing the heart work that
Yeah,
is really, I think, the work of breaking shame and trauma and then forgiveness. it's
yes.
it's not an intellectual construct.
Absolutely not.
Mhm.
And part of that process, when I finally said, fuck it,
Mhm.
he's dead. And
Mhm.
there's now another big surprise here.
Mhm.
Um, I don't care anymore what people think about me. And part of the process, the emotional
Mhm.
process, was me saying, hey, to the world,
Mhm.
this is who I am.
Mhm.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. This is who I
Mhm.
am,
Mhm.
warts and all, and weird and all.
Mhm.
And I don't care. I didn't care anymore.
Mhm.
And that part was when I realized that I was okay.
Yeah.
That I'm just me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's more than okay, and it's beautiful. And
Mm-hmm.
it was the letting go of not knowing where it's going to lead, not being perfect, being the
Mm-hmm.
different one a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm
Mm-hmm.
in the world,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not that different.
Right.
No.
Right.
And even if I am, good.
Yeah.
And so there was so many different, I call it's more than just a healing process, it's a
Mm-hmm.
discovery. And
Yes.
there's
Mm-hmm.
so many different layers to it, so many
Mm-hmm.
different ways. And it's all of that put together
Mm-hmm.
that creates such a beautiful world, a world that allows us to
Mm-hmm.
view individuals differently,
Mm-hmm.
that allows us to understand why people are the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is murderers, even if
Mm-hmm.
it's about rapists, people that do bad things, really bad things. So, what is it that creates that? What
Mm-hmm.
system, what do we have in place in our communities that actually fosters
Mm-hmm.
those things?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we allow ourselves, whether it's within ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
to explore the why, what's behind this, the
Mm-hmm.
things that are harmful, okay, that aren't healthy,
Right.
that don't serve us as a
Mm-hmm.
person and as a community.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at that, that is when we can, that is what brings forth
Mm-hmm.
healing, understanding, and change. It's
Mm-hmm.
the only way.
Do you think the curiosity and the willingness to be curious and step into discovery around this is like the first step, maybe, in terms of breaking the generational cycles of shame and inherited trauma?
Curiosity. I'm not sure. That's a really, really good question. And as we're
Uh-huh.
asking it, I'm asking myself, is that the first? I think the first step for me was sheer frustration.
Sure.
It wasn't a curiosity, it was the anger, it was the
Yes.
frustration, and
Yeah.
the not knowing why is this shit still happening.
Mm-hmm.
That is the frustration. And then from the frustration, anger, frustration, then
Mm-hmm.
came
Mm-hmm.
the questions and the curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
But first, for me, there
Mm-hmm.
had to be frustration.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there's a street here in Ottawa, a road, and that's not in the book, and it's Mackenzie King. Anyway, it's a road
Mm-hmm.
that I had to drive, okay, to go to my parents' home, and on the way to the casino, same because they ended up moving near the casino,
Of
felt
course.
really right, of
Mm-hmm.
course,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And every time I'd have, and the hospital over there. So every time my father, let's say, would be drunk and fall at the casino on his face and go to the hospital ambulance from there. And all the
Mm-hmm.
times that I go there or go to the casino fearing that shit, like, what if he's driving home drunk, and that
Yeah.
fear and everything that, oh my God, and the shame. And here I am driving. There's a whole bunch of homeless people every freaking time. And
Mm-hmm.
here I am looking at homeless people, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
need food and shelter and caring and love. And there I am going to the casino where money is being blown when
Mm-hmm.
people don't care and blah, blah, blah. And that journey for years
Mm-hmm.
haunted me. I even
Mm.
started going the long way so that I wouldn't have that in my face.
Wow.
And so when I talk about the frustration and the anger, it was
Mm-hmm.
all of that, the shame and all of that, that came to a point of
Mm-hmm.
ebullition, where it boiled over
Yes. Mm-hmm.
within me, that it
Mm-hmm.
is death. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That to me was what ignited the curiosity even more. Then I had to say, wait a minute, something is really not okay with this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so here's
Yeah.
what I'd say, like for most people, they get stuck at the anger
Yes.
because and they have all the justifications for being angry.
Absolutely. Of course they do.
Mm-hmm.
But does the anger after a while? So I think anger is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is an emotion that
Mm-hmm.
has its purpose. But if we stay in the anger for too long, then it creates disease. It doesn't serve us anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
staying in the anger doesn't serve us. It serves us at first to
Mm-hmm.
shake. Anger is like when we fall and hurt ourselves, the body, the nerves tell us something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
great. So
Mm-hmm.
something's wrong.
Right.
From that, if there's no follow through, if there's nothing else, then that's all it is. It's just anger.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was going myself for counseling a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
and my therapist said, Denise, anger is simply sadness that hasn't been acknowledged. And my first thought was, no, I'm not freaking sad. I'm freaking angry.
Right.
And it took me a while. And
Mm-hmm.
what he said to me is every time you're angry, take just a few moments and ask yourself, what is it about that situation that makes me sad?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
started doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, did I cry?
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's a
Oh,
really powerful question.
yeah.
Because the questions that we ask ourselves determines what direction we head in and where we end up. And so to shift from just being downright pissed off and angry and all of that to the question of, okay, what am I really sad about? What am I grief stricken about?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I started really understanding is the questions that we ask ourselves are so important. Are they the right questions? Why
Mm-hmm.
is this happening to me? That will not lead you to solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So the other day I was having a conversation with the group that I'm in, and we were talking about this very question, like, why did this happen to me? And I said, it doesn't matter. Pick a reason and work from there. Just pick one,
yes,
because you're never going to know if it's, quote, the right reason or not.
what can we do about this? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
What can we do about this? How can
Yeah.
we change this?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because at one point, it's not who cares, but okay, it happened. But
Mm-hmm.
now what? How
Mm-hmm.
do we
Yes.
move past that?
Right.
Yeah. And
Right.
so
Right.
questions that we ask.
Yes. And so you got pissed off and angry, and then
Yeah.
you moved to, okay, what is the sadness that is about this for me? And imagine you spent time in that space to explore the sadness and the grief and so on and so forth. And then what?
Well, then I was tired of being sad.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So then you're sad. And again, then what? Okay. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sad. I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm sad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's
I've cried as many
exhausting.
tears as I can.
Yeah. Yeah. And at one
Yeah.
point, I'm like, oh, whatever. I got so tired of being
Mm-hmm.
sad.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, then again, now what? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what am I going to do about this? Because I didn't want it to go to waste.
Great. That's yes.
I wanted my pain, I wanted
Mm-hmm.
my frustration, my anger, my sadness. I wanted to give it the respect that it deserved. So, how
Mm-hmm.
do I respect that?
Mm-hmm.
How do I give it the love and the grace that it deserves?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's by addressing it, it's by asking questions. Why did this happen? How can we change it? How
Mm-hmm.
can I maybe view it differently so it isn't just anger and sadness?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe understanding. And that's when I really started questioning or exploring, is what I want to say.
Great.
How can I love my father and also say this was wrong? I
Mm-hmm.
want both. And I
Mm-hmm.
have both. I can honestly say I love him so much.
Mm-hmm.
I do. And in the same space, I also acknowledge that he did the best that he could with the tools that he was given. And some of those tools were bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so by acknowledging that and acknowledging his strengths and the love that he did have allows me to forgive myself for when I screw up.
Yes.
And we all screw up.
Right.
And I still will. It's called being a human being.
Yes.
We're not meant to be perfect. And so the more I found out that the more I could forgive, it allowed me the space to love and forgive myself. One does not happen without the other.
Hi, I'm just popping in here because we are going to make this a 2-part series of the podcast. And because we went longer than we normally would. So where we're stopping is, how can I love my father? Which is, how can I love my father given all that he's done? Which I think is really an important topic for almost all of us that have loved someone who's dealing with addiction. So come back in a couple weeks and we'll have the second part of this 2-part podcast that we did with Denise Frenette. Take care. Thrive, everybody.